I loved God so much growing up, and it was a huge part of my life. My dad was a preacher, so I wanted to be a preacher. I would go to school every day with my Bible, and when other kids were playing on the jungle gym or whatever, I was preaching to kids and praying for kids, because I wanted to be just like my dad. When I was 9 years old, I remember my Sunday school teacher, I was best friends with his son. I went over to his house to stay the night, and I remember waking up because I saw the lights were on, and his dad was in there, my Sunday school teacher. He decided that he wanted to mess around with me or whatever, and that's whenever the abuse started. Stole my childhood, stole my innocence in an instant. It went on probably 12 to 15 times till I was 11, so about 2.5 years I went through this hell. I thought, why should that man deserve forgiveness if he can't even admit what he did? What if I wasn't the only one? There could be hundreds of other kids. I was ready to give up. For me, that was it. To think of what he did to me, to forgive him, made me sick. So this is where I grew up. That's my bedroom right there that I grew up in. My parents got divorced when I was 11 years old, and I moved in with my mom and my stepdad shortly after that. It was like hitting a brick wall. I didn't know what to do, so I did the only thing I could do, and I acted out. I was acting out because I hated myself so much. You know, I rebelled against my family, I rebelled against everything I knew, and that's when I started smoking marijuana, and I smoked pot almost every day since. This is the neighborhood across the street from my house. This is where I used to go to get high. We would come out here and smoke weed all afternoon, and little did people know that 50 feet away from their house there's a bunch of teenagers out here doing drugs. It seemed like so much fun back then. Little did I know that it set the course for my life for the next 10 years. I struggled with the fact that I knew better. You know, I grew up with an understanding of who God was to me my whole life. But regardless of what happened in my life, I should have never rebelled against it. I should have never got to that point. I first started staying in my car when I was 18, a senior in high school. I stayed at a buddy's house on his couch for a day, or my girlfriend's house for a day or two, but for the majority of the time I was right here. Anywhere that was dark. I told myself God was punishing me. I deserved to live in my car because I was dirt. I was worthless. God had blessed me and I had thrown it away. I didn't deserve to be here. I wanted to die. I wanted to kill myself. My life is filled with sorrow, a world of pain and hurt. And every time I'm standing up, I fall back in the dirt. I feel like I'm a loser, you can't tell me I'm not right. Cause I sleep inside my car almost every single night. I have to stop making excuses, and I need to be a man. But I have no one to stand with me to tell me that I can. So I drink away my sorrow and I smoke away my fear. But none of that matters when I'm lost in lonely tears. So here I am standing, at the bottom of my rope. I'm clinging on for all dear life to a little word called hope. But don't feel sorry for me if you think I lost my way. Cause the next time you see me, I'll be stronger than today. And I became dependent on the lifestyle that I was living in. If you don't have the $90, $100 to get your daily fix, you'll do whatever it takes to get that. I couldn't be Philip anymore. I had to be this drug addict. This is my dad's shop. It's where I spent years and years of blood, sweat, and tears. It's also the place where I hit my rock bottom. Never forget that day. My addiction had taken over my life, and one Friday when I knew he wouldn't be here, kicked in this door right here, and I stole some tools from my dad. I wasn't thinking about who I was affecting, I was thinking about getting high. I immediately went from there to the pawn shop. Then I took the other tools to my drug dealer, and I traded them. I got $300 worth of pills. 6 hours later, they were gone. I can admit I was an addict. I asked for forgiveness every night. I'm not trying to make excuses to make my transgressions seem all right. Believe I know I hurt you deep. I obsess on it every day. No matter how much I cry out to God, the pain is here to stay. And I feel like I deserve to suffer at least a little bit each day, because I took more than some dusty old tools but your peace of mind that day. So when you read this, know I love you, and I'm sorry. Take your time, try not to rush. And I hope I can regain your forgiveness, but I know I could never regain your trust. It was about 12 hours later, I get a phone call saying that the shop was broke into. My mom said, "We know it was you." And I said, "I know it was." I couldn't lie about it. I admitted to it right then. 2 hours later, I was on the highway. I was running. They filed charges on me, a grand larceny charge and a second-degree burglary charge. At the time, I thought it was just to ruin my life that I finally went to jail. I stayed in there for 45 days. The quest is just a question that is looking for an answer. A burden to my loved ones, to myself, I am a cancer. No longer can I condemn myself, I have to keep my faith. To life I'm numb, but always aware, forced to witness my disgrace. This is now my journey, with peace nowhere in sight. So I'll pour out my soul upon a pad so I can try to sleep tonight. Finally hit a point in my life where I was just beat down and broken, like I didn't have anything left. I knew that it was time for a drastic change. It's time for me to finally stand up and get away from that old crowd and be a man. So after I did my 45 days in county jail, I got out and immediately went 3 blocks down the road over here to the City Rescue Mission. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I've heard about the City Rescue Mission, but I never really been there or did anything at the place. But that's where the Bridge to Life program was, so I decided I'd give it a shot. I had a peace about me. I knew that this is where God wanted me to start my new journey in life. Like I was called to be here for some reason. For me, I wanted to go to a faith-based program. That's what I loved about the Bridge to Life, you know. I didn't feel like I would respond well to an NA type program or a 12-step program. For me, it was about finding out what I was missing, and I was missing God. I walked in, and the second I walked in, I saw a giant banner that said, "You can't expect forgiveness from God if you have unforgiveness towards another man." And that hit me hard because I knew that I had unforgiveness in my heart for little things here and little things there, but mostly to myself. And that next day I went to the chapel for morning devotion, and I reached my hands up to God and I felt His presence for the first time since I was like 10 years old. And everything that I'd been through my whole life, everything leading up to that point, it was like God was just pushing it to the side. And He was like, "You know what, it doesn't matter that you've done this. It doesn't matter that you've done that, because you're home now." And now for the first time since I was a kid, I finally do feel at home. And it wasn't coming home to Oklahoma City, but it was coming home to God. And that's the greatest gift that anyone could ever give me, is the opportunity to find out that God is still there for me. When I was done, I said, "Okay, God, I forgave all the names on my list." And He said, "You did well, my son, but there's still one name that you missed. And if you really think about it, you know what you must do. And this is the hardest part of it all, because the name you missed is you. You must forgive yourself for your addiction and all the pain that it caused. Forgive yourself for the trust you broke and those people that you robbed. Forgive yourself for attempting suicide and the time that it almost worked, and not getting to be there for your son and everyone else that you hurt. I'm sorry you're going through this, but it's something you must do. Because when you learn to forgive yourself, then I'll forgive you too. I didn't think that I could do it, but I knew it was the only way it could be. And the more I thought about it, I realized the one I hated most was me. But after realizing this, I started seeing life much different. It's when you find out where all your problems lie, you can find all the ways to fix it. I've learned to accept the things I can't change and ask God to take the rest. Then almost instantaneous, I feel this warmth inside my chest. And now I'm free. My chains are gone and I am free to dance. My God has delivered me and saved my life and given me a second chance.